Money in the Bank was this past weekend. John Cena announces his retirement. Mommy's back. And Stephanie Vicor leaves CMLL. All this and more on episode 3 of your favorite wrestling podcast, none other than the Connoisseurs of Wrestling podcast. My name is Eddie. We got Marcus. We got Brad. And we finna talk some pro raps. Dynamite was good tonight, wasn't it, fellas?
Good episode. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. I personally, I didn't like announce it out loud. I kind of saw the way that things were going to end with Mariah and the Willow match. Of course, I was hoping for Willow, being a big Willow mark myself, but it just makes more sense to have Mariah and Tony going into All In, going back to Mariah's homeland and all that good stuff. But that's where I saw the swerve coming. I didn't think it was going to be that brutal though. But well done, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely well done. I didn't see the swerve coming. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, they're skipping down the aisle. The next thing you know, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, in back of my head, I'm like, wrong woman won the match. This is some BS. I don't like it. And I was just about to tell you, this is some BS. I don't like it. Next thing you know, whack, she just goes,
Whoa.
yeah, she just goes ape crap 5,000 on that ass, on that head, threw Luther through a table. It was just, yeah, she definitely got some heat, man, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. She wins the Bret Hart Memorial Cup on the men's side of things. Brian Danielson, he wins the not Bret Hart, I'm sorry, the Owen Hart Memorial Cup. Wrong Hart brother. Right family, wrong brother. So that is well too. And that was a good match too, man. That match could have went either way.
Now I will say I did not predict that one. Like I found that one for the first time in a long time. That was one of the only that was one of those matches where I didn't know who was going to take it. Like I wouldn't have been surprised if Hangman won just because he's been on Revenge against Swerve, and that would have set him and Swerve up. Plus, wasn't real surprised that Danielson going over there, being that this is his last hoorah. Why not let this man have his big moment going? I don't know if he's going to win the belt at the big time. I know he said he's not interested in winning the belt because, the young guys, but
Yep.
why not go out on top? So who knows? Well, as for that match, I was pleasantly surprised to see Hangman go over, but at the same time, too, it was like, sweet, there we go. It's setting up a nice little main event at All In.
Yep. Could Hangman be crawling back to the elite? He answered the door. Okada said, "Can I help you?" That was hilarious. He tried to barge through the door. Can I help you?
Can I help you?
Yeah,
Stand him down.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like, between last week when he didn't want to have nothing to do with him and this week, it seems to me maybe his motivation is just that he wants to get at Swerve, being that Swerve declared himself the captain of Team AEW. So maybe this is just the ends to a mean at the moment. And hopefully not a full, because it does look weird for him to just all of a sudden, all right, you know what, guys, yeah, I'm down with the elite. Like his hate for Swerve is so much to where I don't care. I just want to I just want to go against the dude. So that's what it looks like to me, at least at this point. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right. Oh, go ahead, Brad.
Oh, I was gonna ask, did they let him go from the elite? Because I know he was off doing his own thing. Like did they drop him from the elite, or because I don't know if I missed something like a few months ago whenever the elite were just dropping people. Did they drop
I
Hangman or
believe they did. They dropped him and they suspended him.
Yep.
And they
okay.
said he was, yeah, you're no longer part of, like, they just flat out fired Kenny, but they
Okay.
or whatever. And of course, they can't fire him because he's a EVP himself. But they're like, yeah, Hangman, you're suspended, buddy. Whatever. And
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. I probably missed that part.
Yeah, they did. They went in and got him up out of there real quick. So it was a pretty good episode. Wednesday night
Yeah.
pro raps, Dynamite, AEW does it again. So let's move on to the Stanford Embezzlement Conglomerate Corporation Company. Yep, AD's favorite. WWE had a PLE this past weekend. Money in the Bank. Marcus, I know you saw most of it. What do you think about it?
um, I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite PLE that they've done this year. The actual Money in the Bank matches were both pretty good, men and women. Those were entertaining. what was surprisingly entertaining to me, and I know I told y'all in our three-way chat, was the hard fighting that took place between Cody, KO, and Orton versus the Bloodline. Now that was a surprisingly good match. Because yeah, those boys were going at it. And yeah, I know a lot that's circulating right now. Tonga Loa botched the low blow and he accidentally hit his brother in the head or whatever. But other than that, it was a pretty good match. And yeah, just the Money in the Bank matches themselves. I think I have to give the nod again to the ladies. I know last year the ladies showed out, and they had the better match out of the two. And I think I have to give both of them. The men's match was better this year, I'd say, but I still think I have to give the slight edge to the ladies. They just did the thing. Chelsea Green took an insane bump, and yeah, she took an insane bump. Zoe Starks damn near killed herself like twice.
Oof.
Um, EO looked great as always, as she always does. And yeah, it was just an all around good match. And dang, I'm forgetting who won it. For it to be such a great match.
Tiffany
Tiffany,
Stratton.
yes, Tiffany Stratton won Tiffy time. I predicted that it was either going to be her or Chelsea Green. Personally, at this point, I would have liked to seen Chelsea get it. I think maybe Tiff needs a little bit more time to simmer. But hey, maybe it is Tiffy time. Maybe we are ready to go ahead and pull the trigger on her and put her up there as a top player in the women's division. Now for the guys, um, I thought it was the interesting call to have Drew go over, only for him to cash in and lose and that quickly of a turnaround and stuff, just to advance the story, the CM Punk story with him. And I mean, the match itself was great. I didn't like how they pulled the trigger so early on that, but other than that, Seth and Dame Priest, yeah, didn't really do it for me. Plus, there was the big botch. Dame didn't kick out the pin. Oh, Drew cashes in all that. But yeah, that's how I felt about it at least.
I think the PLE, I think it was all right. Nothing for me to be like, oh my God, nothing for me to really rant and rave about him. And, Tiffany Stratton won. I was kind of like, I get it. I get it. New fresh blood. She's a believable character. As you guys know, I wasn't a big fan of her at first, but over time, people tend to, they grow on you and you see them work and you see them grow and you see develop. I'm like, yeah, she gonna be all right, man. Tiffany Stratton, she gonna be all right. Yeah, the men's Money in the Bank match that would have been nice, but I think Drew should have held on to it just a little bit more longer. Should have just held on to it for like a while. I don't want to say about a year, but almost to the point where it's forgotten. And then they say, boom, he upside the head with an empty briefcase. Remember that time Austin Theory had a briefcase and it flew open,
Oh yeah,
and there was nothing in
nothing in
there.
it. I've
Yeah,
been lied to all these years.
but I guess a contract. Boo, y'all lying. You lied to me again. Don't like it. Can't stand it.
What? There was nothing in the briefcase.
Nope,
Nothing
there
but
was
that
no.
little styrofoam stuff that's in like the fancier briefcases. That's
Yeah,
about it, if I
that's
remember correctly. Or was there
that's
absolutely nothing in there,
There was
Eddie?
there was nothing because it was like gap wide. Like how when you open a suitcase halfway, nothing falls out. I mean, he had it like it was bent to the hinges, and it's like he waiting around like ain't nothing in there. Wait a minute, there ain't nothing in there. Yeah, yeah. He
Not
didn't
a
have
cent,
he didn't have not a red cent, not a nade dime, not a nail, nothing,
not a stick of deodorant.
nothing. Pack of nabs, a Chico stick, none of that. He had none of that in there. So Sami Zayn, he retains his title against Braun Breaker. I remember when Braun Breaker, when they first brought him in the main roster, sometime last year, and it was in Cleveland, and he was an NXT champion. Didn't get much of a reaction, but now that he's on the main roster full time, a whole different story. New music, they're barking. It's the fans have really gravitated towards Braun Breaker because when are we ever going to see a wrestler that has the mic skills of his uncle and the athletic ability of his daddy all packaged into one person?
And some of that athleticism that his uncle had.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
you're doing
yeah.
Frankensteiners and Hurricanranas and
yeah,
flips and stuff like that. It's like, wait, what?
yeah. At 260 pounds, they say he is. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. He was a lot of people don't know he played football at Kennesaw State University.
Yep, right up the road from where I am.
Yeah, right the road from you, Marcus, and he was a running back. And
Hmm.
every once in a while I post in the group like, hey, don't be surprised by Braun Breaker's athletic ability because you look at his dad look at his uncle, and look what he can do on the football field. I think if anything, if Braun were to play in the NFL right now, middle linebacker.
That could be a good spot.
Yeah, that
I can
would
see
be
him
a
being an edge rusher too.
Yeah, because I can see him being a y'all remember him, an Elvis Dumerville type.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Doomerville was a beast when he was in his prime.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like 5'11.
Yeah. And also like one that dude that used to play for the Colts, Dwight Freeney.
Yep.
Oh
Dude
yeah,
was
yeah.
like
When he was
5'10,
dope.
5'11, 240.
Yeah.
Dude was fast, but he played fullback when he was in the NFL. They had him as playing fullback when he got drafted by the Ravens, I believe.
Mm,
He either got drafted or either he was a walk-on. I can't remember if he was like undrafted or not. But I remember he was on the Ravens roster for like a short bit and then they cut him.
yeah. He what did he do? He made the he did make the roster though, but yeah. And now we got Gable Stevenson, excuse me, going from the wrestling ring to the football field for the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be interesting to see as well too. Yep, Damian Priest defeats Seth Rollins. We all knew that was going to happen. Tiffany Stratton wins the Money in the Bank. Overall, the pay-per-view was okay. But a moment we didn't expect during the pay-per-view was John, Felix, Anthony, Carmichael, Jefferson, Smith, Cena. You're probably wondering why I'm going on the long names. Like when they're the GOAT like that, they don't have two names. Just like I call Tom Brady, Tom, Edward, Patrick, Carmichael, Fitzgerald, Jabot, Peter, Mike, Justin, John, Joan, Brady, the Order, Canada, the third. So yeah, you gotta give him all the names and all the flowers. But John Cena announces his retirement after almost 2 decades in the sport of professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and most notably, his long run in World Wrestling Entertainment. When people throw around the GOAT conversation, I tend not to enter them. Well, Eddie, you scared of debate. You scared of conflict. No, 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 no. Because I always say the GOAT is subjective. Like you have to look at the NBA. None of us were around when Bill Russell was playing. But Bill Russell got most of them things right there. I think he got two right here for 11 and 12. He just got a lot of rings and everything. So I think GOATs are defined by era. Every 10 years, every 10 years is defined by an era. Like, from the 50s, well, from 40s to the 50s to the 60s, and so forth and so on. But then again, when it comes to John Cena, you can't deny it. You can't deny it. He took a little chicken shit gimmick and made chicken salad with it, and made a lot of money. Made a rap album. He has a movie I think it's on Amazon Prime called Nicky's to Nicky, which ain't bad. It's pretty decent. It ain't bad. And several other things John Cena's done as well too. And I think at the age of, I think he's what, 46, maybe mid 40s, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to go ahead and call it a career. But before he goes, he's going to give us a farewell tour. Oh my God, I'm at the age now. Jushin Thunder Liger, he retired. Muda retired. Sting retired. Now we got John Cena retired. That's a nice four right there. It's like, wow, man, the Undertaker, you know. So it's kind of like, wow, you look at we've been watching a lot of these guys for the past 20, 25, 30 years. Like I've been watching Booker T since, 91. And so been watching him for close to, for over 30 years. And then John Cena's impact on the business and his hustle, his loyalty and respect. It's a tired choke the most, but you see what his hustle, loyalty, and respect got him. And that can't be denied. AD, did you were you watching during Cena's run?
Off and on,
Mm,
off and on. I was watching during his run. At first, whenever he showed up, whenever he faced Kurt Angle, he's talking about ruthless aggression.
mm,
I was like, who is this guy? But then I found out his OVW stuff. I was like, oh, it was that guy. Yeah, so I was watching then, saw, wasn't impressed until after the feud with Carlito.
mm,
And then that's kind of when I started seeing more people get behind him after that. Was
mm,
whenever he got stabbed by Jesus. And that's kind of when the people you could feel it. It was like
mm.
light, but you could feel the people were starting to like get behind John Cena right after then. So
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of LA Knight almost. When they first got there, they wasn't feeling them, but like all throughout last summer, you can slowly start to see the yeah. And people give LA Knight here, oh man, he's a ripoff of The Rock and Stone Cold and da 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 da. I'm like, look, the man just turned 40. The thing about it is Eli Drake, Sean Ricker, LA Knight, whatever you want to call him, he got to figure out. He said, you know what? I'm gonna wrestle a smart style, a style that gives me some longevity. That way, I'm not over here, taking unnecessary bumps, putting holes in my bump card, just doing. If I guess you could say he's like, if I got to do it, I will. But if I ain't got to do it, I ain't gonna do it.
yeah.
Yeah, L.A. Knight. I'm like, I'm glad he stuck with the cadence in that. Marcus,
Yeah.
what say about you about John Felix Anthony Cena?
Yeah, I watched. I remember, that same promo that AD, excuse me, Brad just referred to of
Mm,
the ruthless aggression. And, he pushed Angle to the limit. And then the very next time we saw him, he actually beat Jericho. And yeah, I kind of had high hopes for him at first. And, I wasn't even like hip to the idea that he was in OVW doing his thing down there or anything like that. I kind of heard about it in passing and stuff. But, I had high hopes for him. And it just seemed like he was just kind of floundering and floundering. And then lo and behold, he shows up with he turns heel and he's doing the rap gimmick. And I'm all three of us, we're big into to rap, and stuff. I am a huge hip hop head. I'd say I'm as big a hip hop head as I am a wrestling head.
mm,
And that really spoke to me. Even though he was a heel, I was like, yo, I dig this, because it it was new, it was fresh, it was innovative, with him cutting promos and dissing them in rhyme form. And not to say he was the first to rhyme and cut promos, but just the way he did it, it really was cool. And I was still hoping for more in ring wise. But eventually he kind of got there. And I know that was one of the big things that people always has picked on him about, or always criticized him about, his just five moves of doom, if you will. But I mean, it worked for him for this long. He when needed, he has pulled some bangers out of his pocket. The matches with AJ,
oh
and
yeah.
those, of course, the first one to come to mind. And he had some nice wars with Cena. No, with Orton over the years. And like you said last episode, Eddie, there was a point in time where it was just like, all right, now we're kind of getting tired of him. And I'll say I've never been one of these guys who dislike Cena. I've always liked Cena. I won't say he's been one of my favorites per se, but I never disliked the guy.
Mm,
But to put him down, yeah, he definitely has earned his notch as one of the greatest, if not arguably the greatest of all time. I don't know if I would put him in my GOAT spot, only because I've got guys like Blair up there, possibly a few other people. I know Samoa Joe is one of my goats, and I
mm,
know compared to some of those other names, probably just impact to the business doesn't compare. But Cena, he's up there. He's on the Mount Rushmore. He's up there with Hogan's, with the Rocks, with the Austins, with
mm.
the Flairs, with the Stings, with the Undertakers, with the HBKs. He's up there in that realm. Definitely once it's all said and done.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to get run number 16, magic number 16?
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I really wouldn't.
Mm.
I mean,
Maybe.
oh, sorry, you about to say something, Brad?
Oh no, I was just saying maybe.
Yeah, he said maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the first thing I thought about. Excuse me, and I was like, they gonna give him 16. That's the first thing I said. He gonna get him a 16. He gonna get him a 16. And I think it wouldn't be bad, but it's gonna have to take a hell of a person. Whoever they have lined up, he got to be a hell of a person to beat John Cena and take the belt and make the most of it. Speaking of belts, we'll get to that later. We got a surprise on Monday night. Mom is back.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. And she looked mad as hell. How about that scene where I know somebody screenshot it and it's all over social media now, where Dom was on his back, Liv had his leg on her shoulder. She was stretching a little bit, and then here come Damian Priest, and then here come that damn JD McDonough and Finn Balor.
Poking out the window of out behind the corner. That had me rolling.
I hollered. They all like,
They like the way they popped out. They didn't like ease out. They like popped out like little like weasels or something.
There, real quick. And then you got Carlito looking like the drunk and oblivious uncle. Hey, that's yeah.
I don't know, that looks pretty hard to me.
Yeah, he said, I don't know, it looks pretty hard to me. I was like, uh-oh.
Hey, yo. His Dame was like, yo, man, what the hell?
Hey, yo, wait a minute. We're not on Netflix yet. We're not on Netflix yet.
Carlito.
Yeah. He was like, it looks pretty hard to me. I mean, come on, Carlito. Don't state the obvious. But yeah, man, mommy's back. She wasn't too happy. Something that came on I saw it on YouTube, and I'm gonna give credit where I saw it from, WrestleMania, and it was like, does Rhea Ripley's status with her being married, does that change the dynamic of the whole story between Dom and Rhea? I look at it like this. I remember where you literally had to dig up this information to see if they were married or dating anybody. But knowing that she's married and he's married is kind of like, I'm trying to put on my suspicion of disbelief. But these folks is married in real life. They getting real touchy. She whispering them sweet nasty nothings in his ear. And he like, yeah, mommy, yeah, mommy, yeah, mommy. So yeah, just looking at, just really trying to put it all together. What you guys think?
I'm for those out there in podcast land, I'm a theater major. I was a theater major. So, acting, even though I haven't been doing it as much as I like to in my adult years since being out of college, is my thing. Now, I've been on stage and I've shared on stage kisses with other gals who weren't my girlfriend. We didn't end up talking afterwards. We definitely didn't have any sex afterwards and all that. It was just an on stage kiss. And especially knowing what we know about wrestling now, and like you say, Eddie, we're just privy to so much of people's information. I mean, hell, Dominic posed, there were pictures all over the place months ago of his wedding, and Rhea was there at his wedding, looking damn good, if I might say.
Yes.
But she was there at his wedding, and I wouldn't be surprised if Dominic was at her wedding again with Buddy or whatever. I know theirs was much more private and stuff, but yeah, like, I mean, if that's the case, and I'm going back a little bit further, that hopefully people can suspend their imagination and belief enough. I mean, look at Mark Henry and Mae Young back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Mae Young gave birth to a hand, literal hand, and of course that was back in the day when things were a lot more wacky and over the top or whatever. But I would hope that people viewing people's legitimate lives wouldn't be enough to take them out of the kayfabe of it all. It's like, okay, I get that Dominic Gutierrez is married to whatever his gal's name is, and Danielle, I forgot her last name, is married to Buddy Murphy, whatever his real name is. But Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio are an item, or have been an item, and Liv Morgan is trying to come between that. We're not looking, we don't watch like TV shows or movies like that. Like, I don't know, Tom Cruise is kissing Halle Berry, and that I don't think they were ever in the movie, right? No. But I'm
Not
just
not
throwing
that
that
I
out there.
not that I not to my knowledge.
Yeah, not of mine either. But yeah, like we don't look at movies and TV shows and like, oh, I wonder if they really got a thing going on. Like, no, they're playing a character.
Mm,
So I don't think it would really hurt the category. If anything, I think they maybe should break it up or do away with it just because I think it possibly has run its course.
mm,
But as for suspending belief, if they're believably together, I mean, they haven't really kissed on air anyway, or shown much affection. Liv and Dom have showed more affection towards each other than Rhea has towards Dom. So
mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, we shall see. It's gonna be interesting. All right, one more before we go to break real quick, and we'll come right back here. Let's see. Let's talk about Stephanie Vaquer leaving CMLL, and then the very next day, if I'm not mistaken, HBK was like, "Welcome to the family." Brad, we talked earlier in the chat. I was like, if I was her, she probably want to go freelance. Because after a while, you probably, some people want to go freelance. That's what Minoru Suzuki does, and I think that's what Naito did for a while, and I think somebody else. I think it was Taichi. Yeah, yeah. A lot of them guys they did freelance for a little bit. So interesting to see Stephanie Vaquer losing the title, leaving CMLL and slash New Japan, and then going to NXT TNA. I believe in Joe Hendry. Yeah, that dude. That dude. I'm over here looking at WWE like y'all not the only one that can make stars. Not the only one that can make
Right.
stars. Yeah, but Stephanie Vacour leaving CMLL and going to the Stanford Entertainment Embezzlement Conglomeration Company. Brad, I'm gonna start with you. I know you got feelings. I know, and I got to hear it now.
Oh boy. So of course, as everyone knows, Stephanie McGare is, she left CMLL, left New Japan, just said, I'm out. And now she's signed with NXT. And not sure when she starts, but like during Dynamite, there was a post that a guy wrote of all what was happening in between. I didn't know this, but her previous partner tried to kill her.
Oh,
Hmm?
Yeah, she had something happening out there in Mexico, so she's trying to distance herself from this guy. So he's in jail.
hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll send y'all the the Twitter feed of it, but it's a whole story. I was like,
Hmm.
what is this? So her leaving all this stuff, it makes sense for her to
Hmm.
leave
Hmm.
as a talent. She's phenomenal, phenomenal athlete. Some of the craziest moves I've ever seen. I've only seen her mostly in New Japan and some of her CMLL work. She is a star and she will, she'll do great. I hate that she went there, but I understand why now after reading all that stuff. I kind of understand why, but I still won't watch NXT for anything. I still won't watch it, but she had to do what she had to do to, better her life and make sure she's good.
but you're missing out, man. You know we're gonna get her in versus Julia.
Whenever she comes back for
Yeah.
risk.
I saw something said that she was cleared. I don't know how true
Yeah,
it is now, but
yeah,
apparently, yeah,
yeah,
she's ready to roll.
yeah. She's cleared. She has a match this weekend against Suri on Saturday, I believe, for the Mighty Gold promotion out there. That's the
Mm,
same. That's the one that Yoshirai is going to be on as well because I think they're in Japan this weekend.
right.
So
Yeah.
everybody, yeah, they're all out there this weekend. So I don't know. Like ever since I want to say ever since 2.0. It just did it for me. I was like, I hate the stage. The Wale song is okay, but it sounds like Vibrant Thing to me. I don't like the way he sampled it. I don't like the brightness. I don't like Vince and Bruce Pritchard doing their spin on it. I'm just mad hating. I'm hating worse than, Silky Johnson from the Player Haters Ball.
But it's so good now though. Like it's gotten good again. And granted, it's not black and gold,
Mhm.
but it's far from 2.0. It's so far from 2. It's mostly back to the black and gold, but just yes, brighter and much more TV friendly, if you will. But the product itself, like I've been saying, is I NXT is my show any day over Raw, SmackDown. NXT is
Mm.
great. And Heat Wave this last week blew Money in the Bank out the water, if you ask me. And I hope we
Whoa.
do have some time in this episode to talk about that a little bit because that whole card was just on point.
Yep. You know what? With that being said, we're gonna take our first little break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about NXT Heat Wave. And did he just fall into a stick around? We'll be right back, right here on the Connoisseurs of Wrestling Podcast. Back at you right here on the third episode of the Connoisseurs Pro Wrestling. Myself, Eddie, Marcus, Brad. We're talking about everything or just about everything that's going on in the world of pro raps. Before we went to break, Marcus said, we're going to talk about Heat Wave. And I said, you know what? I'm trying to make an executive decision. By God, we're going to talk about Heat Wave. We're going to talk about Heat Wave. It took
It's Heat
place.
Wave. It's
Yeah,
Heat Wave.
It's
My
Heat
God,
Wave.
it's Heat Wave.
Ah!
By God.
Just start screaming and stuff till his head blows off. It took place the following night at the same arena, Scotiabank Arena, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That Canadian crowd is always something else. And once again, another banger delivered by the developmental. Should we even call them a developmental territory anymore? They got their own stars.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know if it's fair to call them full developmental. It seems like Level Up should be that, which I don't watch really. I know it comes on Friday night around like the same time slot as Rampage, so I'm busy watching Rampage. But I
Mhm.
know that's actual developmental versus NXT. Yeah, when you got people occasionally, from the main roster coming in and out, and surprise people like Joe Hendry and the Rascals and I don't know if you can call that full developmental because we're literally getting people who've been around the world who are well traveled mixed in there with the rookies and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know if I can say that's full. And I know for hasn't there been like their aim for the longest now to make that an actual third brand versus straight up developmental?
yeah,
Mhm.
that's been the aim of it for a while. Yeah, like you said, Marcus, you got the Rascals who are well traveled, Joe Hendry, well traveled, Ethan
Jordan Grace has been
Page,
popping in and out, well
who
traveled.
yeah, like you got a lot of well traveled guys. Like, okay, well, how developmental is developmental unless you get them you put them up against rookies and see how they fare against a professional. Excuse me. And then again, it's a classic case of hey, you gotta learn whatever that garbage you learned on the indies. We're gonna rewire you, reprogram, or reframe you, and learn the WWE style of things as well too. Just let you know, folks, there's more than one wrestling promotion on the planet. So more than one, more than one. All right, so Obafemi defeats Wesley by pinfall. And Obafemi said, you're not get another chance. Yep. And he's made it
Long I
known.
am champion.
Yeah, I am champion. I am champion.
And he threw that boy up in the air like a flapjack.
Just tossed him.
I mean, the last time I seen something, I won't say the last time, but it was very reminiscent of way back in the day when Brock Lesnar threw Shannon Moore up in the air with the F5 like that. What is it? Somebody say he tossed that boy like a piece, like pizza dough or
Like pizza
something.
dough, yeah. Just that's just do with a smaller opponent. You're a bigger dude. Watch this. Finna spin you. That would
But
been funny. That would have been funny if you would have caught him again and spin him again. I think I would have been on the floor.
yeah, like yeah, I think all of us would have been on the floor.
Yeah.
And like Obafemi, that dude is special, man. It just seeing a lot of people react to him, just ICW people in comment sections and stuff. Not a lot of people have anything bad to say about him, and rightfully so. That dude is amazing. That dude is something else. He's exactly. I'm sure he's what they were hoping for with Omos, but yeah, Omos just ain't it compared to that dude.
Omos is just too big and just too green. And I'm not going to say Omos is not athletic, but that is a man at 7 feet tall, over 400 pounds, versus Obafemi, who's 6'6", 310. Now, Obafemi, he got a student athlete scholarship at Middle Tennessee State and won the Conference USA title in indoor track and field because the brother, I think he threw the shot put. Yeah, he threw the shot put, which is no surprise. It's probably why he was spinning Wesley ass in the air like a pizza dough, Moving right along, let's see. We got Kalani Jordan, little cousin Kalani, the gymnast herself. She defeated one of my personal favorites, Saul Ruka, soul sister, by pinfall, and she retains the Women's North American Championship. Both of these girls are good. They're athletically good, athletically sound, and athletically good. Marcus is currently having technical difficulties, but that's okay though. Well, we'll keep it going. We'll keep it rolling right along. Yeah, I think Saul Ruka is something special. I like her finisher. It's like a springboard backflip into a RKO type of deal, and I'm like, yo, I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Soul snatcher.
Yeah, the soul snatcher. I'm like, oof, the soul snatcher.
Snatcher is one of the dopest finishers in the game right now. And
Yeah.
My microphone fell off the little stand here or whatever.
I saw.
Guess I didn't have it screwed in tight. And I was just like, oh,
This is like,
yeah.
But yeah, Kalani and Soul, they stole the show. Probably. I was very impressed by it. I'm sure y'all probably seen the clips going around. Like basically they mimicked Osprey and Ricochet in one of their matches that they had over in New Japan. I'm like, oh, no wonder it was so good. And that wasn't just the only good part. The whole match was great. Of course, your favorite, Eddie, Stinky Cheeto, messy room, stacked papers everywhere, Meltzer, shat all over it. I was like, this didn't seem like a wrestling match. It seemed like a gymnastics routine. Like, come on, bruh. Really? Like, you watch, and as much as we love AEW and New Japan and all this stuff with all the flippy wrestling, you're going to sit up here and say this about them? Really? Come on, bruh. I thought it was a great match personally. I was very amazed and very happy to see those girls go at it like that. And it was just a really good match, really solid match. Soul looked great. Kalani looked great. It's good to see two sisters in there, even though I know a lot of people don't know that Soul is a sister. Or she's mixed at least.
Her father's African American. I did some deep research because I remember I saw her on the Black History Month poster, and I was like,
what we got? Like, wait a minute, hold up.
It's like, what's this little white girl being on this poster? It's like, wait.
Yeah.
Then you look at it close, it's like she does kind of look a little Lenny Kravitz-ish. I totally butchered that.
Kravitz-ish.
There you go.
Kravitz-ish.
Yeah.
Kravitz-ish. But yes, but yeah, it was cool to see them just get after the way they did. I thought they did a great match. And I know the flippy style ain't everybody's cup of tea. Personally, I enjoy it. I like the flippy style just as much as I like the technical style. Just as much as, any other type of wrestling and stuff like that. But yeah, they put on a great match, I thought.
I like the flippy stuff because I can't do it. I mean, it's a task to try to give it. I can still do a cartwheel, but a backflip, I'm gonna tear something up. I just can't bring everything up at once. My body ain't like, hey man, you're 41, you got time for all that mess, man. You're about 30 pounds overweight. Nathan Frazier and Axiom defeated Chase University. Andre Chase and Duke Hudson. So Nathan Frazier and Axiom, or DJZ, ain't that what it is, or whatever they call it?
No, A-Kid.
Oh, A-Kid.
Yeah, DJZ is old boy in Legado NWO now.
Yeah.
Joaquin.
I'm telling you, man, after a while they all start doing this right here. They all start doing that. Everybody.
Funny thing is about Joaquin Wildo, he's like Filipino, but he's in a Latino faction.
Isn't there something I've always wondered about that? A name like Pacquiao. And I think with the Philippines, ain't there some kind of like Hispanic lineage about the entire country, if I'm not mistaken?
Mm-hmm. The Spanish lineage, Spain invaded.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Spain invaded did their thing, and that's why you see a lot of Filipino people with like Latin last names.
No. It's like I look at Manny Pacquiao, I'm speaking, a brother from Mexico. Nope. I'm like, who,
Philippines.
who this? Who the hell is this? Yep. The prodigy Roxanne Perez defeats Lola Vice, who says her fists don't lie.
Oh,
She
real quick, can we back up to that last match because that was another show
okay.
setup, with that the tag match with Axiom and Frazier against
Mm-hmm.
Chase U. Yeah, Chase U showed out.
Mm-hmm.
Andre and Duke Hudson, which I think Duke Hudson is highly underrated. That dude is really good in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually looking forward to his match with him and Obafemi next week. But that whole match, of course, we know A Kid, or excuse me, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they can get down in the ring, but Andre and Duke were just keeping up with them, and it was a really good match. I would say probably just as much as a show stealer as Kalani and Soul
And Andre Chase does all this with a sweater on, just to remind you.
with the sweater and long pants. I'm like, bro, I know you hot, and a shirt on underneath, the little collared shirt on underneath.
Ooh.
Dude be sweating. Dude be sweating under there.
You remember those the guys that wrestled in high school and how they had to cut weight?
Oh yeah, and they had to wear sweatsuits like
Yeah,
in the heat in summer,
yeah,
go sit in
Yeah.
the sauna with all the clothes on and all.
yeah. With a garbage bag on their
Mhm.
legs and garbage bag like it's brutal, man. I'm telling you. The prodigy Roxanne Perez defeats Lola Vice because she said them fists don't lie, but she was looking up at the lights, took the 1, 2, 3, and Roxanne Perez, the prodigy, retains her NXT championship. Both of these women are impressive. I ain't gonna lie to you. They're just impressive. Time of that match was 12 minutes and 49 seconds. And to the main event, and new NXT champion because he literally fell into it.
Mhm.
Ethan Page defeated Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Sean Spears by pinfall. I think I stepped outside, stepped back in. I was like, the match over, and how did he win? But if you ask me, I think they're trying to get Trick up to the main roster as quick as possible.
Mhm.
That's what I'm feeling. I might be wrong. I don't want to be, in my opinion, that's how I'm gonna take to the listeners out there. Let me tell you how you need to construct your statements. If it's your opinion, if your thoughts, preface the sentence and statement like, well, my thoughts are, or in my opinion, or if you want to avoid making glaring generalizations and blanket statements, just say some, not all, because if you lump all into the some category, people like me will get you because I don't like glaring generalizations. It's not fun. So you don't paint the picture such a broad brush. But I believe and I feel, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not gonna be like Meltzer. Somebody like, oh, you lying. I ain't got time for all that stuff. My room is clean, all right. Um, yeah, I feel that they might be trying to get Trick Williams to the main roster. Because you know how like some people can be too over, and it's like, well, let's take this and move it here and see how it does. I might be wrong. I might be right. Who knows? Might be part of the Netflix era.
Might be.
You never know. So Ethan Page literally fell onto Javon Evans after the trick shot knee to the 1, 2, 3, and Trick was like, I can't believe it. Neither could I. Marcus, what you think about this here?
I thought it was a good match all in all, but my big question at the end was why did Sean Spears stop him from breaking up the pin when he was in the same match competing for the same title? That just
Mm-hmm.
didn't make sense. And I get, that's their way of getting the belt off of Trick without making him look weak, without making him eat the pin. But it seemed backwards with Spears holding it. Like, no, bro, go back, yeah, go break that up. And at the very least, follow him in, and maybe whatever. But story. I get it. And like we said, like you said earlier, this is a rehash of an old HBK story where literally old boy fell into it and won the title that way. Trick has already beaten the man one on one, so there's still room for them to work with that. And it looks like Javon's getting ready to go do something with Brooks, Spears, who knows? But yeah, as for your take on him going to the main roster, that'd be interesting. Personally, I think he needs a little more polish in that ring because Javon was outshining him, and Javon is much younger than he is. And yeah, sure, Javon works a much more high flying, eye catching style or whatever, but Trick is the prototypical WWE guy. He's got the look, he's got the charisma, he's got his own chance and all of that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did try to hot shot him up to the main roster. Not to mention too, even like you mentioned the Netflix thing. Maybe that's another way they try to reach out to another key demo of black folks. Like other than that, who else do we got? We got Mello, we got the Hurt Business. Well, not the Hurt Business.
Street
The
Profits.
Pride. Yeah, the Street Profits. B Fab, who's not really doing much of anything. She's just there, and Bobby, who's hurt at the moment. Other than that, who else do we really have black on the main roster? Well, guy wrestler wise, of course, we got Jade and Bianca, but so maybe, yeah, maybe that is, and for the Netflix area, put another black star out there to pull in more black viewers. That could work. I mean, he's got the Riz, as the kids say.
Yeah, the Riz.
I had to look that up, by the way, when I found that out about a couple of months ago.
Yeah, when I heard something about the Riz, I'm like, you might want to go to the doctor. I don't like the way that sound. You don't want that.
Personal problem.
Yeah, you
That's some
got
cream ointment for that.
you got some Riz. We doing. I got that Riz on me. Oh, you gotta go to the doctor, bro.
Oh, man, I can't mess with them. They got their Riz. They got the Riz.
got that monkey, that thing, that Riz. That Riz. What the? I don't know if. Yeah, the Riz is, yeah. I'm like, that's not available for public consumption. But yeah, the Riz is charisma. But all in all, this card wasn't that bad. It's just NXT doing NXT stuff. And then on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. My bad for cutting you off.
Go ahead.
I was amazed with how quickly they finished too.
Quick.
The show started at 7:30. They had one match on the pre-show, which that match was okay. It was Ariana Grace and I was about to say Ariana Grande. Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovic against JC Jane and Izzy Dane or Jasmine Nix. Jasmine Nix. I get those two confused. But yeah, the show technically started at 6 o'clock with the pre-show, and they were done before 9:30. I'm like, wow. Raw's not even that quick.
Nope.
Or it doesn't feel that quick, at least.
It don't. Oh my God, it don't. Some nights I'm like, damn, this hour number 3, this 10:15. God, boy, I don't know if I got it in me. But yeah, on top of that, I mean, I think it's like, what did AEW do? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get y'all 12-minute match. Yeah, 12-minute matches, 12. We have the microwave hot shot this. But excuse me. But yeah, another strong showing by NXT. Braun Breaker and damn Ilya Dragunov, they're gonna wind up killing each other on the main roster. But I'm here for it. I like that rivalry. One of those rivalries that can go from NXT to the main roster, that's always a good thing. All right, we have reached a point in our show. We're gonna talk about some belts. In the words of Bob Holly, when he's pitching ideas, creative ideas to Bruce Pritchard, he said, I got an idea. Why don't you give me the belt and I'll beat everybody for it? There's your creative right there. Job done for you. The funny thing about this, I can hear Bob Holly say some mess like that. I really and truly could hear him say some mess like that because it's just, because some guys want to come with intricate ideas. Like, I got an idea. Just give me the belt and I'll beat everybody. Plain and simple. So shout out to the former Thurman Sparky Plug. God, it's a horrible last name. Horrible name.
Thurman Sparky Plug.
He was a NASCAR driver. NASCAR driver.
He from Talladega, Alabama. The brother was from Mobile, all right? Yeah. That's exactly where he was from. Let's talk about belts, wrestling belts, championship belts, and everything. So we do have our favorites, and we do have our favorite champions as well, too. And I'll go first. My 1A and 1B is the big gold belt because being in the South is what I grew up with. Some people prefer the winged eagle, but I prefer the big gold belt because look at all who held it. Sting, Ric Flair, Lex Luger, Hulk Hogan, Chris Benoit. I know people don't want to mention Chris Benoit, but aside from what he did outside of the ring, got a guy like Chris Benoit. Who else held the belt? The Undertaker, Edge, Batista. It has a lot of lineage. And you look at the World Heavyweight title now, they try to make it like, oh, it's about the lineage of World Wrestling Entertainment. I see WCW, NW all in there. Lie to me, lie to everybody else, but don't lie to me. Come on now. And then my favorite champion was Booker T. That held that belt. It just looked right on him. It just looked right on him. My other one was the NWA/WCW World Television title. Because it was one of those belts where it had the silver plate with some red touches on it, and I think it had a red strap as well too, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. But then there was another incarnation of the WCW television title. People didn't like it, but I liked it. The fact that I knew at an early age, the fact that when you see the television champion, you about to get some good wrestling. You about to get some good wrestling. People say like, oh yeah, the U.S. champion is the next in line. Well, I think the TV championship, to me, in my opinion, meant more because we're giving you the television title to put you on television because they see something in you. So, yep. And my favorite television champion of all time, the Enforcer, AA, Arn Anderson. Brad, what say you?
Man, that was actually going to be my title. that I was going to mention the WCW television title.
Okay.
I love that championship. I mean, in every incarnation, and you mentioned that they had a red strap. That one was the one before they changed it to the silver plate one. That was
Okay.
black, and it said WCW World Television Champion, which, by the way, that is $3,000 from Belts by Dan if you do want to buy it. No plugs or anything, but yeah, $3,000 if you want to buy it from me. That's actually one of my favorite championships. That's one of my all-time favorites. You pretty much covered most of that. And one of the champions that I really, really liked from that, as much as I hated him, I couldn't deny his wrestling prowess, and that was Stunning Steve Austin.
Ooh.
Stunning Steve Austin was one of the best world television champions out there. Like every Saturday on WCW Saturday Night, he was putting on banger after banger. He was like 2 out of 3 falls usually. And I'm just like, how's this guy so good? I can't stand him. And then, there's so many people that have held that title, like Regal and, trying to think who else held that. There's so many people. Yeah. So many people that have held that title. And also 1B, the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
That was one of my favorite titles growing up. Always seeing it, whether, Sting holding it, Lex Luger holding it, again, back to Steve Austin. I think, did Johnny B. Bad ever hold that title, or was he a TV champ?
TV.
Okay, he was TV. Okay. So yeah, so like most of the guys that ended up holding that championship, of course, even when Scott Hall was there, ends up holding that title. And that was one of the coolest championships. Like not only just match wise, you were going to get good matches out of that, but the design of it, because I always thought of it, I was like, is that their Intercontinental Championship there? But beautiful title, great lineage, and my favorite wrestler to hold. Yeah. I can probably just say Stunning Steve Austin is probably my favorite WCW TV champion of all time.
Yep, that was it's funny how you look at we look at Stone Cold Steve Austin now, but a lot of people don't realize, man, we've been like 30 plus years watching wrestling, man. And you look at these guys, like I remember when Booker T was this. I remember when RVD was this. I remember when this one was this one. And now look at them, like, excuse me, 10, 11 years, these guys have ascended to the top, man. And Steve Austin you look at him like, there's something special going on there. It's something you couldn't quite put your finger on it, but there definitely was something special going on there. Marcus, what say you?
Um, like you, Eddie, Big Goldie is probably my number one favorite title of all time. Just growing up a a WCW kid.
Hmm.
Just that belt was just always really pretty. Even like one moment I really remember is when Ric Flair first came to WWF and Bobby Heenan came out even before Flair showed up. It's like, hey, I'm gonna bring in the real world champion, and he had the belt with him. I'm just like, ooh, look at it. And ooh, excuse me, up against the Winged Eagle. Winged Eagle is great. Don't get me wrong; it's iconic. It's definitely on my top five list of all time. But Big Goldie, just between, like you said, between Flair and Sting and Booker T was a great one. Who else? Like Barry Windham held Big Goldie. I know a lot of
Yeah,
that gets glossed over. Many people miss that, but Barry Windham back in that time, he was a big deal, and it kind of got upstaged a little bit just with Flair leaving and Sting moving around and stuff. But he had his day. Luger had his day.
Rick Rude
Yeah,
held it too, and it was known as the WCW International. Come on,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
bruh.
something. It was like a mouthful,
Yeah, it was the WCW International Heavyweight title. I'm like, well, ain't that the world title?
pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah, just like, what do we? Yeah, let me look at it. WCW Inter. Yeah, the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship. Why?
Hmm.
That's a
Why?
mouthful.
Because, well, it was Flair, as we know, Flair took it with him when he went to WWF.
Oh yeah.
And they were scrambling to try to find a championship, and
Mm,
they ended up making that weird looking one before they ended
Yeah.
up going back to Big Goldie. They ended up
hmm.
having that weird belt because they were trying to, like, I think it was Jim Herd was trying to get the belt back from Flair. Flair was like, "You can come get it if you want to."
Yeah.
I
Ah,
will
man.
say another title of mine. I know we're getting close to the end here. Another title of mine that wasn't necessarily my favorite design, but I love what the belt stood for. I guess still stands for, and it doesn't have the same feel today. But the X Division Championship in TNA.
Ooh.
When I first started
Ooh.
watching TNA, it was somewhere in 2004. And like you said last episode, Eddie, I just stumbled across it by accident. And first match I saw was America's Most Wanted versus, I believe, the Naturals or whatever.
Ooh.
And just seeing that, and then they were showing all the different things. And then in one of the promo packages, they showed the Canadian Destroyer. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And they were talking about AJ Styles. They were talking about Petey Williams. They were talking about Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Amazing Red at the time, and just all the guys. It's not about weight limits, it's no limits. And then of course Samoa Joe, my favorite, comes in after a while, and just that belt, it just what it stands for is like you don't have to necessarily be a cruiserweight or lightweight as previously WCW and WWE made him out to be. It's like Small Joe was the champion. That dude was 300 something pounds and in there at the time doing flippy stuff just like the rest of them.
Yep.
Just that's my favorite type of wrestling to this day. Just that overly, that good mix of technical with high spots and high flying and all of that. I just love it. And yeah, granted, the design of the belt itself isn't the best with a big old giant red X on it, but
Yeah.
just what the belt stand for and what it means and stuff. And I will say modern day TNA X division, and yeah, we're talking about 20 years ago. They don't it doesn't have the same feel, but even though I do like what Mustafa Ali is doing right now with the belt, the presidential gimmick and all that is pretty cool.
Mhm.
But just the style of matches they don't hit like they used to back then. But maybe
Hmm.
that's because it was brand new and was fresh and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
do love what the X Division title stands for.
Yeah.
Right. I'm looking at some belts online here. My least favorite design is this new IWGP World Heavyweight Championship belt. I don't like it. I don't.
Oh,
Oh, the
oh,
one
the
that looked like a
man's.
butterfly?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The men's
Yeah.
butterfly belt.
Yeah.
The Divas
Yeah.
Light. Like, get out of here. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they should have left it like it was. I think it was, if you ask me, man, I think it was fine, man. Sometimes you gotta leave well enough alone. Sometimes you gotta leave well
yeah,
enough alone. Yeah, the IWGP United States Championship belt, it's just massive.
yeah. That thing is huge.
Yeah, it's just massive, but nothing, but there's nothing like the good old IWGP heavyweight, excuse me, championship belt with the big old IWGP across it and the globe and then everything else. And then like
All the nameplates on the side.
yeah, like the thing about Japan, wrestling in Japan, New Japan, it's like, look, we take this serious as a sport. Like that's what you do in sports. You engrave your name on the title. So shout out to them. This is never open weight belt. This is a pretty nice looking belt too. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember what was a big old gaudy belt that the WWE ECW belt is bad.
WWECW.
Yeah, it was just
Oh, yeah, that one.
Hated that belt. Oh God, it was terrible. Terrible.
it just looked big, heavy, and uncomfortable. Now, who got time for all that?
It's clunky. It was a clunky looking championship. It was one of the clunkiest championships of that era.
And it wasn't eye catchy either.
No.
No, it was like gray. It was like
It was like
gray
platinum or
and
whatever,
black.
and the
Yeah.
strap itself was black or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just an ugly belt. I remember seeing it at Access
Mhm.
once. It was like 2009 Access. Whoever was the champion at that time, they had it on the table. And I was like, man, that belt really does not look good at all in person.
Mhm.
And I held the spinner belt, and that thing is gaudy too. I'm not gonna lie, I hated the spinner belt. I liked the spinner belt. It was like a weird love-hate relationship with that thing. It was just like you spin it, it's like, okay.
I like the Spinner United States Championship. Did not like the Spinner World Championship.
Yeah, the spinner United States title was cool. That was cool, but
Yeah,
the
it
world
made sense.
title,
Yeah.
did to sell his albums, which was platinum, which by the way, I did buy that album and it didn't leave my CD player for like 6 months.
Oh, John Cena's album.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a good album.
He had a song called Right Now. I remember that was 2005. I moved to New Hampshire and I was like, oh, this is all sentimental stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm going to cry. I'm going to turn it off. I was missing my family and everything. But yeah, man, timeless classic. And John Cena said, I will not be rapping, so you forget about all that. Yeah, because that album was better than half of the stuff that was coming out at that time anyway. All right, fellas, with that being said, it's been another edition of the Connoisseurs of Wrestling podcast, pro wrestling podcast, that is. Your boy Eddie is over here playing through the pain. Hopefully next week I'll be well rested, feeling better. I'm feeling pretty good now. At the beginning of the episode, I was like, ugh. But now I'm feeling pretty good. Can't lie, can't complain. I just need to be good by Saturday because I got some stuff to do and money to get to. But with that being said, it's been another episode of the Connoisseurs Wrestling Podcast. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. I greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. This is the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling Podcast. Keep listening, rate, review, subscribe. Any comments, suggestions, holla at your boys and let us know. Y'all take care.
Peace out.
Goodbye and good night.
Bang.
Bang. Kenny, don't sue me. We'll see you next week.